What if the secret to Nehemiah's success had nothing to do with his skill, his plan, or his power? Before we dive in, if stories like this speak to your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our growing family of believers. Let's grow together. Nehemiah had a good life. He worked inside the palace of King Artaxerxes, one of the most powerful kings on earth. His job was to serve the king's wine. Sounds simple, right? But this role came with trust, comfort, and safety. Nehemiah was close to the king. He had everything most people dreamed of. But then a message arrived. His brother Hanani came from Jerusalem and brought news that shattered Nehemiah's peace. The walls of Jerusalem, the holy city, were broken down. The gates had been burned, and the people there, they were in great trouble, ashamed, vulnerable, left open to enemies on every side. Nehemiah could have said, "That's sad. I'll pray for them." He could have moved on with his comfortable palace life. But something happened inside him. The Bible says he sat down and wept. He didn't just feel bad for a moment. He mourned for days. He fasted. And most importantly, he prayed. This is where the secret begins. Nehemiah didn't rush into action. He didn't call a meeting. He didn't write a plan. He went to God first. He prayed a prayer that was deep, honest, and full of faith. He reminded God of his promises. He confessed the sins of his people. He asked God to give him favor before the king. He prayed, and then he waited. Then one day, the king noticed something. Nehemiah's face looked sad. This was actually dangerous in the ancient world. You didn't show sadness before a king. It could be seen as a sign of disrespect or even threat. The king looked at Nehemiah and asked, "Why does your face look so sad?" Nehemiah's heart must have been pounding. But the Bible says, before he even answered the king, Nehemiah prayed. Right there, in that very moment. A quick, silent prayer to the God of heaven. Then he spoke. He told the king about Jerusalem, about the broken walls, about the suffering people. And something extraordinary happened. The king's heart was moved. He didn't just give Nehemiah permission to go. He gave him letters of safe passage. He provided timber for the gates. He sent army officers and horsemen to protect him on the journey. Everything Nehemiah needed was given. When Nehemiah arrived in Jerusalem, he didn't announce himself with pride. He came quietly. At night, he rode around the broken walls alone, looking, observing, thinking. He was a man with a vision, but also a man with wisdom. He knew that before you build, you must understand what you are working with. When he finally revealed his plan to the people, they responded with one voice, "Let us rise up and build." And they did. Yes, there were enemies. There were people who mocked them, who threatened them, who tried everything to stop the work. A man named Sanballat laughed at them. Another named Tobiah said the wall was so weak that even a fox walking on it would knock it down. But Nehemiah did not panic. He did not fight with words. He prayed again. He placed guards. He kept the workers focused. Half of them worked while the other half stood guard with spears and shields. They built with tools in one hand and held their weapons in the other. They did not stop. And in just 52 days, one of the greatest building projects in history was completed. The wall was finished. The city was protected. The people who had been ashamed now stood with their heads held high. Even Nehemiah's enemies were stunned. The Bible says when all the surrounding nations heard about it, they were afraid and lost their confidence because they knew that this work had been done with the help of God. And that is the secret. Nehemiah's success was not built on talent alone. It was not built on the king's resources or the workers' strength. It was built on a foundation of prayer. Every step of the way, Nehemiah talked to God. Before he spoke, before he planned, before he built, after every threat, after every challenge. He was a man who knew that without God, the work was nothing. Here is the lesson for you today. Whatever wall you're trying to build in your life, whatever broken thing you're trying to restore, start where Nehemiah started. Not with a plan, not with resources. Start on your knees. Bring it to God. Ask for his favor. Listen for his direction. And then move when he says move. Because when God is behind your work, even your enemies will have to admit that something greater than you is at work. If this story encouraged you today, share it with someone who needs a reminder that God is still in the business of restoring broken things. And don't forget to subscribe. New stories of faith go up every week, and you don't want to miss a single one. God bless you.